Right. Okay, let's begin in a horizontal chest opener. We're going to start with opening and supported pose at the same time. So you want a couple blankets that are about the height, actually probably lower than the bolster. You can start with them as high as the bolster, and you want a spot between the bolster and the blankets that's a large gap for you to relax into. So you're going to sit on a block in front of the bolster at the lowest setting, okay? Sitting on that block with the back of the pelvis. I've been kind of playing with how this feels on my sacrum. So sometimes I like the block a little higher, or I'll scoot down on the block because you don't want to feel like that bony pressure is poking you, okay? That darn sacrum. So if it feels like that, feel if you can move your hips down and kind of guide so there's a tiny bit of, it's kind of in between, just elongating the base of the spine. And be sure to rest back. Don't hold your neck up like I'm doing. Okay. So we're going to start in horizontal chest opener with the legs bending, and the shoulders are going to center back. If you're using sand, apply the sand aid across the ribs. Now, I'm suggesting just really staying as constantly going back to my trainings. Putting it high up is not a good idea for strengthening the diaphragm. So I would say go as low down, like even under where the thickest ribs are kind of popping out, and feel like right at that ridge where you can kind of soothe that stretch of the abdominals. Okay. And if you need to go just a little lower, go a little lower, but feel when it can kind of mirror the awareness of your back releasing. Okay. So if it's too high up, it might feel like it tightens the back. And if it's too low, it just might not feel great. So have a belt beside you, and I would say buckle up so you got your belt connected in a big loop, okay? And as your arms open out, let your spine begin to respond to the stresses that are on it right now. We're taking gravity off the spine, right? We're not standing up. We don't have the weight of our head on top. So the beginning is for you to do an assessment of how to use these props to support yourself. Okay, maybe that's moving the blanket, one of them off so you have less height under your head, so you can feel more opening in the chest, and release that gravitational pull on the abdominals and the legs, okay, the abdominal organs and the legs, by either extending the legs down. You can stretch them apart, but you could also have the soles of the feet on the ground and just let the knees rest together. Okay, that can still take that gravitational pull, off the abdominal organs. Okay, and with the arms open, stretching the chest, the ribs, and the back. Let your eyes relax inwards to the skull, into the brain, and just feeling that response of your in-breath right alongside the out-breath. And you can always move the sandbag off if you're feeling like, oh, it's just not for you today. If I can extend my legs down comfortably, today I would put the sand across right up about a little bit above the thigh lids, like around the hips, just to give me some weight into the pelvis. I like this quite a bit, stretching the psoas and just giving the abdominal spaces a little more length. So you might move the sandbag down. It's okay if you have the knees bending with the sand at the tops of the thighs, at the pelvis as well. Experience about 5 more slow breaths, not necessarily deep, because you want to stimulate the relaxation, the rest and digest, not a fight or flight. So not the deepest breath, but a slow, steady, just the motion, and feel if the ribs, they move outwards, Right? You're not trying to like tighten the ribs up and suck the belly in. In fact, you're doing the opposite energy into the ribs and the back. Just allow the face to soften. Let's take a few more rounds here. Shoulders resting back. You know, maybe try the feet together, knees out for the last shape before we start to shift the legs up towards the ceiling. So you might find walking your feet in, knees pointing up at first, and just kind of feel how the femurs fall. Okay, how do my femurs fall out? Right, they kind of splay, the knees splay out, and I can keep the sandbag here. There's no reason I need to remove it. I can if it bothers me. But as I use the sand, it almost helps the threads of the strength, the connection, the tendons. I think the sandbag can provide you with a little bit more thickness of support. I know it's outside of your body, but it does bring you some traction. So it's up to you. You can decide, no, I don't want to use the sand. I think it's always an option. And sometimes it feels helpful just to get you settled into practice with some weight on you. So with the knees pointing out and the soles of the feet together, feel the difference in your back muscles. If I have my legs straight down, okay, a little bit straight, they're kind of slightly bending. And then when I have my feet together, it feels a little more comfortable in my lower back for me. It's like the curve from the hip up through the sides of the waist, the side abdominals, has a little bit of tone. Right? A little toning because the feet are together, the knees are out. And just feel a few more moments. Openness of the chest, collarbones and throat. Okay, now as you motion the knees to point upward, soles of the feet on the ground, let's move the sand aside. Okay, keep everything in easy reach, not as if it's going to go very far. And what we're going to do now is to start to motion back. So you want one blanket under your head and pause at how far you're pushing your bolster here. Just be cautious. You don't want to just push it way down and then it will be too much back tension. So what I try to do is I walk my feet in, I point my feet outward so it doesn't tighten into my knees at all. And then I put my thumbs on the handles of the bolster and I just kind of nudge it down so as my pelvis lands on the bolster, my tailbone's at the edge. Okay. Now, of course, you can, shift around and move a little further down your mat. You get to be the decider. But what I find is sometimes having the pushing the bolster too far down is not going to be helpful. So I really just want my back bend to continue. And that's what I like to remind myself in inversions that I'm choosing to teach is that they're also back bend poses, which is what you do when you get older. If you're going to get older, make sure to do restorative back bends. All right. So bring a knee in and then another knee. Now that you got two, grab a ball, place it between the knees. If you don't have a ball this big, just use a block, right? A block at the most narrow setting, and then let the legs shift side to side and feel where doesn't need to be rushed. Like you don't have to try to get your hip up that fast. I would say let your hip freely move. And one thing it's taken me a while to really recognize is, living in the things you learn about, like, okay, sacrum, right? That's that whole joint structure in there is we want to keep it stable. Okay, we want to keep stability, but when we're moving with it, we want things to move kind of in tandem with each other. So I'm not going to like freeze into my pelvis and then try to wrench my knees over. I want everything to kind of go together, okay? And start to help my back feel some, it's joining the party here. I guess the pose party. Okay. So I just have the ball center of the knees. I'm not actively trying to squeeze it. I'm just allowing my legs bending to go side to side. Okay, and feel that the navel area actually moves too. If I try to keep this, taut and it faces to the ceiling, I'm really not going to get much kind of integration, I guess you could say. It's probably a good word for it, what we're doing here. Integrating lower extremities into the middle space. The upper extremities have nothing to do with it. They're relaxing. Okay, now next time you come back in center, if you're not feeling good about this in your back, one thing I'd recommend is if it's just that kind of day for you, you can do all these inversions with just a blanket, right? That's a low height. Some days are like that. You can do them with just a folded blanket under the pelvis. I recommend getting the hips up though. Stretch the legs straight up and still have the ball center of the knees. And just attempt to push push into the ball, squeeze the ball. Feel how both sides of the leg, that's a big ligament in there. So when you're pushing, okay, feel if you can activate the legs, right? I know you are, but don't focus on the feet doing funny things. They don't have to do anything. You can just do the basics. What do I need to do? Okay, so find what your squeezing intensity is that you can actually live with for a few moments, not a few hours, a few moments. Grab a block, place it between your hands at the widest setting. I mean, you could take it to the middle. I guess you could, but I've been taught widest setting, hands hold. So I'm going to push, and when I lift up, I'm trying to use my arms because we're going to do some, forearm planks and so forth. Oh, joy. So when you're holding the block, reaching up towards the sky, try to continue squeezing the ball. And as you move your arms back overhead, feel the arms like they have a little bit of energy squeezing into the arms as you reach the block overhead. I find this kind of interesting. Breathing. I'm not going to touch the floor, but you can if you want to. If you decide, I'm just going to put the block down and still squeeze it, that's okay. All right, now let your head relax. So if you're really gripping your neck, it doesn't mean you have to nod your head, but noticing those things that might tense up when you're doing toning work. Okay, relax the squeeze on the ball, but don't lose the ball because you'd have to go get it. And then as you squeeze the block, push, push, and then moving the block just straight from the heart to the ceiling. Take that motion in the belly, so inhale, belly full. And then exhale, relax the belly and extend your arms overhead. Okay, remember you can be on, if the bolster right now, it might feel a little more comfortable in your back when you're doing this exercise versus nothing with the arms. I find it interesting. Okay, so last one. Thank goodness. As you check in with the movement of the shoulders, let your hands just put the block down and feel your choice. Your palms could turn open towards the ceiling and see if that's like relief for you. Take relief when you can get it. Like, turning the hands into the block may not be best for our wrist for that long a time. So take breaks, meaning relax the wrist the other direction. Okay? It's your wrists you've been with all these years. So just figure that out. Bend your knees. And then we're going to remove the ball and we're going to take a block and place it behind. I'll show you left side first so you can easily see. So place the block behind the left thigh. And I just hold on to the block and let my right leg lower. And I like to, as you know, kind of explore it a little bit. Should my right knee be bending? Should it be extending? It doesn't always mean you're doing better if it like looks like it's more of a stretch. So, kind of feel the precious stuff in the body, like the core, the abdominals, the organs, how this area responds, because this is kind of your life force, right? Your navel center. This is life force zone. So when I hold on to a hamstring-ish kind of idea, my leg, and I'm pressing into the back of the leg, if I bend my right knee, it's so much easier for me to get the leg to cooperate. It's just the way it is. Yeah, of course, my focus is not so much flexibility, it's stability, it's integrity. It's different than it used to be. So find what works for you, and if you love to stretch your right leg, then you do so. But take just a few moments here. Hamstring 101. Okay, let the left foot circle. So if you can't see my left foot moving, I'm just circling it. I feel motion. I'm not twisting my ankle. I'm just turning my foot. So it's different than twisting an ankle. We wouldn't do that, but just recognize, the differences of movement. And if your foot is so tired and it's just so happy to be up, you don't have to move it at all. Just let it be. A foot up. Okay, relax. See if the calf can just kind of refresh a little bit, refreshing the leg and the foot. Okay, now slide the right foot in all the way that it can go. There's another block there. I kind of like that. I can step up on it and then I'll switch. Okay. It doesn't usually happen. The other block is there for me, but I'm gonna use it. If it's not there and you kicked it away, don't worry about it. So right leg up, block just moves over to side 2. You decide, nothing that's going to be too much on the knee. Now, even if my leg extends on the other side, the left leg, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the best thing for my knee, right? It might flop and it might be painful. So sometimes bending it, even just a little bit, or sliding the foot down. So I would recommend letting your eyes, like close your eyes and feel that you got the basics. You got the block behind the right thigh. And it might feel like a different range of motion, like, geez, this is not the same leg. Okay? It's a good way to tell the difference, like, So feel how it responds in your hip if you can. Hip might not be responsive right now. It might just be kind of gripping because you're focusing encompassed in the hamstring. So let that right foot circle. So you just have the leg up and you're moving your foot going the direction that feels soothing to you. Could be both of them. It could be one direction. Better do something that soothes. So if your foot is in healing recovery mode, maybe this is the foot you're not going to do that with. You never know. Okay, so we all have our own experiences right now that we have to support. So take a moment here, just focusing on holding the block. Feel the awareness in the back of the pelvis. Okay, we're going to go into some basic hip drive for driving the hip. Okay, first gear. All right, so take the block aside, put it aside, bring the right foot, cross it to the left thigh. So the left leg has to draw in now. The left foot is on the ground, the sole of the foot, that is. The knee points out, hip basics, hip drive 1. So knee points out. Now, I didn't really expect this block would be here. I didn't plan it ahead that the block would support me, but you could step up on that block. But many of us know that figure 4 pose or reclining pigeon, a nice way to work on this is to simply lift the left leg up, lift the left foot off the floor, and start to crease at the hips. Okay, now, if you didn't have your foot over on your leg or your knee, and you move your knees in, it's a little easier, isn't it? So Just notice that difference. Kind of feel that right inner leg. If you want to hold the back of the left thigh, you can. And if it's a little strain to do it, get your belt and place it to the back of that left thigh. Even if you've been doing this forever and some reason today it's a strain, yeah. You know, be with your another day in the life of your body self, right? It's another day. It's further down your path, so it's okay to use the belt for sure. Okay. Yeah, I find kind of when I hold, I like that completion, interlacing my fingers, but you know, sometimes using the something behind the thigh works better. And that allows you to move the leg to stretch up. And you can kind of work, kind of pumping motion to stimulate the circulation into the leg and the hip, but also the flow back to the heart. Okay. And as we take a few more moments here, motioning the knees towards your upper body, just see what happens with gravity, helping you flow in that direction. Breathing. Okay, now swish it out a little bit. So, knees apart, because that's what they do. They don't like to stay completely as one, and just go side to side, kind of swish it out. So you just let the knees rock side to side. You don't have to hold them. It's a little awkward to hold them when you have the bolster under you. Swish it side to side. You can have your arms kind of in just a stationary position or out to the sides. And then feel how you can now go left foot crosses to right knee. You might put your right foot on the floor. You might step it up on the block. That might not work at all. And then begin that process of motioning into side two. So I like it when just my left foot touches just above the knee. I think this is a really healthy way to start it, to have your foot on the floor of the block. Okay. So you can feel the attachments here from your kind of the larger bone here at the top of that femur, the connection to the pelvis, because it goes across, right? So you don't necessarily feel just one bone. You're going to feel one getting some pull, and then as you move the knees towards your chest, yeah, how's it feel in your ankle? I mean, if you're in some foot recovery work, you might be like, yeah, this ain't going to work for me at all today. So an option two, which we're going to get to, all of us, is let's say this is not going to work. It pushes your foot the wrong way. You could use a belt and you can take the leg up and cross it over and still stretch the hip. So that's a good option if you can't like put weight on the side of the foot. Okay. So holding the back of the right thigh. Now the side feels different in little spots. I can't quite identify where in the hip, but it is a little different. Where in the hip am I? Okay. All right, we're not going to do analysis paralysis, but we can feel the stimulation here into this left side. Let's just say left lower extremity, many spots of the leg, not just the hip or just the inner thigh, but also in the foot. So I tend to flex the foot. I think we've kind of been drilled on flexion as protection for the knee in this position, and I think I agree with it, but if you have your foot relaxed a little bit, that's probably okay. Leg can stretch up. You can hold the back of the right thigh with your hands holding it, or the belt behind it, or nothing, right? You can have your foot on the floor too. Okay, a few more moments. Now, noticing, I can feel just a little bit of the energy kind of strolling in the inner thigh. There's a little awareness there, circulation in that space. So get a belt, okay, and make sure it's buckled up so you got a big loop. This one's a little too big. And scoop up your left foot in the belt and take both feet up. So now adductor, inner thigh sensation. I'm going to move my feet out wide, and this is too much. So I'm going to cinch it up, tighten it up a little bit so it's a smaller loop. And there we go. It's pretty good. Now, if you can't see, I got the belt around my feet on the sides. It's right at the ankle. And I suppose you could put the belt higher on the foot. I don't think that'd be the best thing for your knee, because if I put it higher on the foot, then it's going to torque my feet and then pull the side of my knee. So probably the closer to your ankle bone, the better. And if you put it below it to your around to the the shin or the base, it's not going to work. Or your Achilles, it'll just slide down. So you got to have it on your feet at some point. And then let your hands hold on to that block again, the only one near you. And hands reaching up, holding the block. And then as you extend overhead, the block might feel, well, clearly it's going to have a little weight to it when your arms move overhead with a different direction holding the bones. Okay, most of the day the arms are hanging down by my sides. Okay, right, so this area might feel a little bit under appreciated. Okay, so have a moment of arm appreciation, okay, leg appreciation, and then I would just rest your block on the floor. Now I'm lucky because my blanket happens to be there, but my arm feels, one side's a little cranky. So I'm going to give myself a little grace. I'm just going to bend my elbows, relax, breathe, let my head center back, maybe nod it a little side to side, just so I can relax my head, not so I can stretch my neck, but get the wiggles out. And take a few moments here. Let the feet tingle a little bit. Reverse the effects of gravity on the heart, the legs, the calves. Okay, now you don't have to activate holding the block, but you might feel as you're releasing that pull in the leg muscles, you're reversing and releasing the gravitational pull from standing on your feet all day. Or just pushing into feet. Okay, now you might notice in the tailbone area a little bit of in movement, right? Because my legs move out. So this is where we start to work with the hip opener part. So I think we'll start with hip flexor here. So bending your knees, okay? You can reach to the belt and you're gonna hold on to it one side and pull the belt towards you so the feet go together. And then lower the left leg down. Okay. Grab a sandbag and place it on the top of that left thigh. So add sand, option add sand. And feeling where you have support with that sand on the thigh span. And when you're holding on, you can loosen it up so that you're loosen up the belt, the loop. You might not need to do that. Your loop might be big enough, but you want to make sure that it's easy, okay, to put that belt to the center of your skull, not at the neck and not at the crown, because that would be a little challenging to stay inverted. But when you have that support, let the weight of your head relax back. And if you're not up for the belt around your head, don't do it. You don't have to. You can have your hands holding the belt overhead. Okay, now that we've already used the block a bit overhead, I would say if you can, take the support behind your head, go for it. But there's never any requirement for that. What we're focusing towards is just the right, now for everyone it's different. For me, I'm feeling the connection in the right side of my back with my right leg up. I'm thinking about moving my leg a little bit down, just to find the right kind of neutral tension in the back. I don't want to make it more intense, so I'm not going to try to yank my leg overhead. Okay, now for some people moving it overhead, you might feel like, that's a good hamstring event, but not many of us that do this practice need more of this back space stretching more and more. We need more front space stretching because of our because of aging. Naturally with time, right? There's prolapse and all those things of our shoulders and our neck. So Let your head lean back. Have the sandbag on the top of the left thigh. And feel if you can just be neutral with effort and force here. Just be. Okay, now shifting sides carefully. So kind of scan the sensation and the stimulation, the intensity level on side one. Just before you get out of it, okay. Yeah, I feel a little bit behind my knee. I feel above the back of my leg. And minimal in my calf, unless I pull on the belt, right? That's when I feel the calf. So you might just notice it. If it's a little shaky, okay. Now, you can move your sand across the lower belly, and that gives you kind of a nice anchor. Like I push the sand a little bit towards my right thigh and go, okay, that's about the height that I want my second leg. So I'm going to try to go the same. I don't want my leg further down. Now I'm going to try to be even. I might have to hold my belt. Shift sides. Okay. This side feels like it could easily go a little bit further back, but I'm going to try to keep it the same. This is all you get, left leg. You don't get to go further. You got to balance it out. And so we're going to turn the sandbag. If you have it on you or you have to put it back up, just place it on the top of the right thigh. If you tend to have back stuff that comes up just in general, I would say, maybe, feel where that sand feels supportive on the top of the thigh and the abdominal area. So sometimes I'll think, okay, and be sure not to hyperextend the left leg. If it's kind of pushing out, bend it a little bit, and then you can kind of move the sandbag up, you move it down. If you get any sharp pull on the right side of the back, you got to shift your sand, or you push your elbows into the bolster and slide a little bit back, okay? Because it's not acceptable, right? We don't want to feel like pulling to our right side of our spine. For me right now, it's like, okay, I'm going to adjust it. Okay. Now, it's a funny looking pose, I think, vein float. So who cares? But you're working towards traction in the neck, and it's all connected. I mean, if I studied a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I can feel this lift. I can feel how it responds on the right side of my back. So I want to lay down some strength in my vibrancy in the vibrant vertebrae. So, don't let the belt kind of pull you and yank your neck. Let your weight of your head take over. Okay? And if it feels like not right, like for instance, you have the same length on the second side and you're feeling like this is tighter, then maybe you loosen it up a little bit, but don't start to pull the leg back over if it feels more flexible. Remember, we're doing restorative. We're trying to regenerate, repair, and restore. Um, yeah, no competition here. Or the Zoom board will take you out of the class if they see a competition. I'm just kidding. Who the heck knows what could happen, right? All right, so I don't want to think about that. So my right foot, I'm trying to keep it the foot like so not the bones don't turn out. So what I find, I'm not going to try to look at it because it'll not feel good on my back, but I can feel when I push my heel down, push away, and then when I relax it, I feel like I got lucky there. The foot didn't turn out. But also keep in mind that we're almost out of this side. The right side of the back, does it feel yanked on? We're going to keep going into shapes that are replenishing and soothing. So we're on the path. Okay, now slide the sand off, 100% sand free. Hands inside the belt to the sides of your skull. Take the belt off. Woof, and then hold the belt with your right hand and cross the left leg over. Bend the right leg substantially, bend the right leg so that you can actually get a swing in the hip. Okay, and it's not about how far you take that left leg over, right? This one's interesting to keep the chest open. You're kind of isolating, but let the left buttock be up. Doesn't need a pin onto the bolster. Let that IT band stretch, right? The side of the left thigh. Right? It connects way down there, but you can feel awareness on the leg. I feel a little inner thigh stretch. And bend the left knee and then bring the right foot up into the belt and then just switch sides. Now, kind of find navel center first, left leg bends, and then feel the left hand switch over to hold the belt and cross the right leg to the left. Yeah, it might feel like, this is a little different. Maybe it's the same for you, but kind of notice part of the practice, what's I think kind of meditative about it, doesn't make it as boring, is just to go, oh, hello, right side. This feels different than left side. What is happening? How can I help you find some balance? Okay, it might be affecting your back. If this hip feels tighter, it might affect your leg. So there's all these things that come up. So just be interested. And then as you bend through that right knee, just slide the belt off and grab the ball again. We're going to come off of the bolster this way. So ball center of the knees and just go side to side. We started with the ball center of the knees and bolster was under the pelvis. So we're going to start to come into, I think one of my favorites is side sage. Okay. So I go side to side, and now I can start moving up into my ribs and my back. So go to the left, take the ball out, and then push down so you're now no longer on the bolster, so to speak, sitting on it. And you're going to move that block that's in the way. And then just get yourself kind of cozy up against the bolster with your hip. If you've got a round bolster, use that. If you have one kind of bolster, just use the standard one. It's fine. Grab your blankets, pull them in so you've got a stack, and then take your blocks on the other side of the blankets. And I know some of you don't use the blocks on the other side, so if you're not a block user, you could just you don't have to worry about them, but I'm going to push mine a little to the right so it's easier on my shoulder, right? So if I move my shoulder overhead, if I move it a little to the gliding motion, it feels more comfortable for my waist. So take the ball, place it on the ribs first, okay? Ribs first. To the ribs, ribs push into the ball, arm on the other side on the floor, on the ground on the other side of the bolster, not the blanket, on the floor, and then legs stacked together, and just turn to massage the ribs a little bit on the left side. Okay, be sure that the ball is not up. It's not at the armpit. Okay, not to say that would be bad for you. I don't mean that, but I used to do like a breath series where we'd have the ball in the armpit and focus on moving the ribs out, but I think I like the movement better. I think I like this one better, even though it's not in my armpit. So just get those ribs moving, especially if the last few moments of the practice we're feeling a little starting to get grippy in the back. Just start to flow, small movement. You could even have your right hand touch the bolster the whole time and just get a little bit of turn, just a little bit. Feel the ribs do the movement. Okay, now take the ball and lower it down. So you're going to let your ribs touch the bolster entirely. And then move the left leg as close to the bolster as you can bring it, not on top, but next to it. And then the ball goes under the inner right knee. Okay, now I kind of lean in. I like to get very, very cozy with the bolster on this one. Okay, so I get it close, snug. And then I need my sandbag. Okay, careful. Don't strain yourself to get your sand. You might have to get up and get it. Place it on the outer right hip and relax your head as soon as you can. So you might need to fold your blanket up to the height that's comfy for your neck. Okay, so the right arm might reach and the hand might touch down. And let your fingers do the walking, feel like, okay.
Do I want the block under my hand or do I just not? Right? It's entirely your choice. Now, what you receive from the practice is kind of what you put in, but remember, it's not about over effort. So really feel from the inside, even letting your eyes relax again and again, and feel once you get into the shape that I'm describing, maybe your work is on just stretching the waist. Right, I really like the sandbag for this. So my sand is on that hip, and when I reach overhead, or if I even put my right hand on the bolster, I'm still feeling a nice support in my hip and my back. Okay, final frontier, I think, on this one is to relax your head. Because I can do this one, and then I sometimes when I look, right, the intensity of looking tightens the neck and so forth. So let your head relax. Even if you need to put the blanket height a little higher. And feel how it is in your neck and your throat. And if the neck feels tight or the throat feels like it's challenged, then you need just a little more height under your head. And take a few more moments here, side body long, whether the arm is overhead for a little bit of the time or none of the time. Arm can be on the hip too. Hand can be on the hip. Okay, now with the ribs movement, maybe you're not even feeling them move, but feel as you in-breath. Okay, do your ribs pull up towards your ear, like directionally when you breathe, or can you guide them to move back and around? Okay, so even if you don't do a lot of, skilled seated twist work, this is really nice work for our sacrum, moving up the spine and the sides of the spine. So I like this progression. So move the sand, and probably it won't be easy to put on your back, so don't worry about it. Just move it aside. And then as your right arm lowers down, hand down to the blanket or the floor, and then begin to lift up and take the ball out from under the knee. Right, if my ball's under my knee and I'm trying to twist, it's just going to pull. It's going to tighten things up. So you could put your right thigh resting on your left foot. It could be right besides the foot. Okay, it's kind of a nice skin rester, right? It kind of pulls, and it pulls the skin a little bit. I like how that works. But as we turn, I'm going to turn my bolster up on top of the one blanket. I know you can put it on two and not have to deal with a blanket situation, but realistically, your neck needs a little different height than just the bolster supporting everything here. So the blanket goes on top of the short end of your bolster. If you have a round bolster, I would switch it out for the flat one on this one, but I've seen it taught both ways, but you get to decide. So use the motion of the left foot touching the right thigh to stretch the right hip flexor and psoas, right? So you can feel the twist occurring not just in your back space, but in the front space. That's why I like these twists so much, because when I'm sitting and twisting, I don't really twist with my pelvis very much, right? So when you're turning, of course, your mid vertebrae is your twisters, and your lumbar is going to stay pretty strong here in its slight arch. So arms relaxing down, head turns to the side, elbows heavy, and just breathe. And even feel as your head relaxes, maybe you need to kind of move it a little to the right. Maybe you don't like turning your head and you want to put your forehead on the blanket so you can roll it up. Finding that support with your forehead down, I think, takes time. Yeah, but for some of us, that's worth it. Yeah, for some of us, forehead down is much better. And just let the shoulder blades kind of melt off the back. And use your breath as a kind of inner heater here, warming, soothing. Okay, now with the moment here, give yourself another several breaths just to rest the heart. You slide the hands in under the shoulders, about, they might be a little bit back, and kind of feel when the palms are pressing, feel kind of roots of the fingers before you push to come up. Even though that might not kind of make it easier on the connection or the difficulty in the wrist, feel the elbows out, and then as you push to come up, try to reach your chest forward, and then make your way to hands, knees, and let's get our blocks under our elbows. Okay, so we're going to turn our bolster across. If you had a round bolster, it'll make it easier. It'll allow you to get on the bolster. It'll be so much closer, so you can always use your round bolster if you have one. All right, so I got two blocks in between my bolster and my blanket. Okay, so I'm going to turn my blocks. Okay, so they're not horizontal. They're just going to be under my elbows. Now, you might, if you're close to a wall, I kind of set up so I can do all the things at the wall and everything, but move away so that you're not relying on it too much. I mean, you also don't want to, it's okay to touch the wall, but you don't want it so that you can't straighten out. So bring your elbows onto the blocks and the bolster under the hips. Okay, it'll take a little time realizing this ain't so bad, right? I mean, I might be starting to recruit some muscles, but I can kind of guide it. So my elbows are down. Yeah, you got kind of those karate chop looking arms here, right? The palms face in. You can open and close your hands. This is always a good time for stretching them out. Shake it out. I don't shake my hands very often. I should probably do this. Okay, so now I start to sink in my spine. I'm like already noticing I'm getting a little lazy. Okay, so it didn't take long either. It was pretty quick. I just started slumping. So I want you to feel where your not on your elbow, like don't push the elbow down. Try to feel here. And then you're going to just gradually, okay? And what might help you is gradually lift your quads off of the bolster, right? So I'm going to bring my palms together. It's so much easier to push my hands together and lift up, okay, and try to recruit like everything, right? It's an everything recruitment moment, okay. Whew. Okay, I'm doing this so we're not pushing on our wrists, but it does make you work a little harder. Now, when you come down onto the knees, stretch back so the armpit chest is stretching, and breathe. Okay, feel the armpit stretched. I know you might feel slightly, if you've done any, arm workout, yeah, you'll feel more. Okay, but if not, you still might feel it. That's okay. Okay, now, I would say kind of visualize when you lift your thighs off the bolster. Just visualize it. Okay, I'm not doing it, but I'm visualizing it. I promise you. Okay, now when I come back forward, okay, I'm still on my blocks, and I'm going to let the hips reach back, inhale, exhale, forward lift the knees up. I always find that to be so much better for moving into forearm plank. Try it again. So knees are down. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Hips reach back. Inhale. And then exhale. Crown of the head forward. Lift the knees up. Does that work? It's still not easy. Oh, geez. Okay, come back. Okay, I don't think we're convinced. Okay, so hips are back. Okay, now what I'm trying to encourage, like instead of having your thighs just like this and then lift up, right, you're using momentum. So hips back and then lift up. Does that make sense? Okay, good. No wrist pressure, yes? Okay. All right, come on back. Whew. Take your bolster up on your blocks. Okay, hands on, knees are pointed out, stretching back. So it has the same motion of child's pose, but no crushing of the knees, right? I'm not sitting on my feet. Okay, now head maybe nod side to side, nodding your head. Okay. Now, as your arms are reaching, okay, this one is a good one to visualize downward dog because this is eventually, and you may not end up like this in lifetime, but we want this area to stretch this way in down dog. Yeah, okay. So, hands on floor, a little wider than shoulder distance. If you don't do down dog with your hands down, your elbows down, taking the elbows down is fine. I would just say put the palms together, okay? And then toes under, lift the knees up. Heels up. I love the wall for a downward dog because when my heels go up, my lower back stretches. Yeah, I took an Iyengar class on Christmas and it was kind of fun because, I mean, it was a little bit too intense, like go higher, go heels up, blah, blah. But I did understand when my heels are up, how much more stretch I get in my lower back. I did feel that, although it puts more energy into my arms, doesn't it? So keep those heels high. And if you're not at a wall, even better, you got to lift your heels up and stretch your back. Okay? So heels up, calf stretch. Okay, now calf stretch. So lower the heels down. And let's take an Uttanasana. So that would be, I'm going to walk my feet a little forward. And most importantly, I'm going to walk my hands back. And then take a back release, right? You can hold your elbows and you can hold your legs. And you know what? I feel like right now I'm going to walk over to my bolster bench and I'm going to put my hands on that because that feels like the way to go. So I realize with aging vertebrae, and I have all kinds of complicated situations in mind. So I know my slumpy, roundy thing. I mean, some of us, it's probably not the worst if we don't have stuff that's a challenge that we know to take care of. So for me, probably better to have my hands on my bolster, have a little arch in my spine versus rounding it. Some of you are going to go, I love this. This is great. Yep. And maybe it is, but I'm recognizing this is best for my back. And I still get a good stretch. Yeah, I'm not wedging, I'm not cramming my vertebrae, so I get a little more vertebral energy. I can move my hips back. I can try to get some movement in my knees, stretching into the back of the pelvis. Take a few moments. You can also do wall push, right? You can go to the wall and do what we call L shape. I like this one a lot. This is like probably my favorite. Who doesn't like this kind of stretch? Because you do get some, and you could have your elbows at the wall if it hurts your wrist. Okay. Okay, take a few more moments here. Let your head relax, or if you're feeling some pressure in the neck, maybe hands at the wall is better. Okay, so you can stretch out the neck. And you can let your head release. Okay, now those of us that are close to a wall, carefully get back to it. So our rear is at the wall. We step away from it because if my heels were at the wall, I would take a somersault to get to the floor. So I'm going to lower down and I'm going to release my arms. And then I'm going to feel kind of that approach that's almost like a squat, right? My knees are bending. I stick my rear back. This could be a better instruction. Push your rear back when you come down. And then bring your arms forward. Yes, there's a moment when you have to somehow commit to getting down and move your feet back. Come on down. grab your bolster, turn it, push all the props away lengthwise under your core, and then you're going to lie on the bolster and let your spine come into this shape. Okay, so blocks go away, arms stretch forward, elbows down in Sphinx pose. I like the wall at my feet, so I get a little feedback. I get a little resistance, and also for me, it feels like it gives me it just gives the right amount of feedback into my energy in my legs, my extremities, and into my spine. So elbows down. Now I'm in a little bit of traction here. Now some of us might not have the wall, and that's okay. So you can have your elbows a little bit further back, just under your shoulders, though not all the way back. So you can stretch your chest a little forward. Okay. Now I almost always think of a cat when I do this, Sphinx pose. So kind of notice if your chin moves forward and then it moves down, chin towards your chest. That doesn't mean I slump in. I move my chin in towards my chest, like you're making a double chin. And now carefully slide the hands back so they're under the shoulders, not the elbows, but the hands. And then bring your arms back so they're on your sides, your hands near your sides of your legs. And just lift your head up a little bit, just the right amount. Now, there's no competition, okay? So if you lift up a little bit, that's probably the best, right? Just where you feel some deeper circulation into the spine and all the muscles, blood flow, lymph. It's great. Juicing it up here inside. Okay, and then bring the hands down. You have your little T-Rex arms now. And then gently stretch the chest just a little bit up. So you're coming to up dog. Come back to table. Turn your bolster across the mat. And then come on up to it. I don't know what happened to the time, but I just looked over and thought, my gosh, we're only on the second side, Sage. Oh, well, okay. All right. We got time now. Okay. Sometimes classes flow by fast. Okay, so sand is going to be closer to you to start this time. Don't let it be behind you. Okay. Ball to ribs. Okay, get those blocks. If you're not a block user on this, don't even bother putting them behind you. It doesn't matter. If they're not overhead, you never use them, don't set them up. It's not required. Okay. Now, I'm going to have my sandbag near my right thigh, and I'm definitely going to lean into the ball. Okay, now if you're feeling pretty sensitive, just putting the weight on the ball, like this is a little sensory overload for you. That, remember, just go slow. You can even have your left hand on your hip and turn open and then roll back in. It's okay to just keep your hand on your hip. Okay, but feel the dynamic. So when I have this, the ball is in my right rib. So I'm just going to show on the left because it's easier for you to see. Maybe it's good for you to see from the other direction too. But you could have your hand again on your hip. It's just getting this kind of rotunda moving. Yeah, I think it's important. And it's small, right? This is small. It's not like we're not owls. Okay. Owl ribs. Okay, so now as we come down, you might kind of enjoy just leaning into the ball and letting it kind of, stroll across your ribs. Rib strolling. It kind of pushes across them, massages them. And then, I know some people that do side sage with the ball, okay? But I just think that's, I don't know, it doesn't seem like something to add on. But if you have one of the tiny ones, not a lacrosse ball or tennis ball, but one of these that's really small, they sell a small version of them. They're pretty nice for that. But this is too big. So I'm going to fold my blanket and get into the side sage. So I've got my arm reaching over, and you might have developed more range on one side, just in general. What's new, So Feel the parts that could be even. Like, your hips might be somewhat balanced, your torso's the same, but the other side of the torso on the bolster. So I think always approaching this from some range of letting your mid body just feel it expand. It doesn't need to go lengthwise, it can go outwards. You can also just rest on the blanket and let your left arm go any which way and close your eyes and breathe. Right? Again, there's no block requirement. Some people like something to reach to so they feel like they get this sigh and extension, but never required. I think this is the stuff that does the work for helping my back. And most people, like if you work in some studies, I think the side stretches are really helpful. So I would say these might be better for some of us than seated side stretches because the whole body moves together in length and you can relax into it. Just let the weight of your head relax. Breathe. Have the ball under the inner left knee if you need that. I like it. Sand is on the hip. If it feels like it's tugging in the wrong way, you can move it higher. You can go minus the sand as well. Take just a couple more moments here. Okay, now as your left arm moves, you're going to start to feel like you have the counter twist. So you're open a little bit, doesn't have to be a lot. And then you're going to be closing in and turning the ribs the other direction. So, just thinking of this as creating more elasticity in these tissues, build resiliency in the lungs. The twists are going to be good for that. So as I take the ball aside, I'm going to be careful. I try to move like as if I just have no idea how I'm going to feel when I come up. Like you don't want to pull something. So just go really slow. Like you're fragile. Go slow. So turn the bolster. I mean, moving the props around is we're moving the props more than ourselves. It's like prop, the prop poses, right? The prop asana. How do we move our props? What did I call it? I used to call it propology. Moving the props. So I got my blanket on top. I like this. Some people put like a pillow, like a little, small little pillow they'll put on top. They have little things they like to use from their home environment. So I think this is a good one. Now, what I have though is my right. You can stay in that direction. My right foot is touching to my left thigh. So when I turn, I'm stretching from my mid back, right? And this is all moving together. Okay. We're all moving together. I'm not trying to push, keep one side fixed and one side turning. I'm trying to let it all go. Okay. And yeah, there's always further to go on a twist, but just accept what you have. In fact, just doing the practice is enough. Let the arms open and let your head turn to the left. Okay, or your forehead on the blanket. And remember, we're using the pose to get into the body, not the body to get into the pose. So we're really trying to feel, okay, now I'm inside a new environment of breathing, just turning the shape around and feeling where there's a tug on the ribs. Now, it's likely going to feel a little more challenging to have those lengthy breaths here, maybe. So just relax your breath. Hands slide in under the shoulders, slowly come up. This time we're going to recline. So we'll take the blanket off the bolster, grab the bolster, move it down to our feet on the floor next to the feet. And then as we turn onto our back, let's do a little windshield wiper just to ease our back, okay? And in fact, if you feel like I want to bring my knees to my chest, you can do that. So if you're feeling like right now, knees to chest feels soothing after the twist, it's okay. But I recommend that if you do bring the thighs in, that you're not trying to squeeze the belly, like tighten it up, create restriction. You just let the thighs rest down towards your abdominals so that it kind of massages that area with it moving across the back of the pelvis. So you can go this side to side or feet on the bolster side to side. Again, kind of treat yourself like you have no idea how your body's going to respond in the next little phase of the class, in the end phase. So be easy. Easy does it. Okay. Grab a ball. Okay, now that the pelvis is still kind of curved, well, of course it's curved. The lower back is curved, but sneak the ball in to the base of the spine. Sneak it in so you're not contracting so much, right? You don't want to like contract your rear muscles and then put it under for what we're doing. So I just place it so it's at the base of my spine, kind of tailbone-ish. And then I just move my knees up, and then I might shift it a little bit to the side so it's right at the back of my pelvis. And then I move mine a tiny bit up because it felt better, okay? And then go side to side, moving your hips, wagging your tail, okay? So as you go side to side, you want to feel, I would say, don't get too motivated on this one to do more. I would just relax into the ball, let all your weight be on it, and then just feel if you can kind of let your hip kick a little side to side. This is our final spinal. So feels good to just let the body structure rest into the cushiony prop. Yeah, some people pump these up quite a bit and like that more rebounding, kind of rebounder, trampolining. I don't know, I go back and forth on that. I think it feels, I like it to be a little squishy. All right, so as we move our spine back to central station, here we are, in the middle. Okay, now you're going to push into your feet. So my feet are on the edge of the bolster, right? They're not perfectly flat on the top. I'm going to lift up and just move my ball over to the right rear because I have to get my hip up a little bit to move it over. And then I'm going to specifically massage across the glute zone on the right rear. Now your hip is likely gonna, sometimes it clicks. It could be like randomly, like once every 5 times you do this, you start to notice a click, one side or the other. It might happen. It might not happen to you ever, but just know that that's not that abnormal. Okay, so just feel when you're moving, I don't know, you might have popcorn sounds. I know some people get those in their knees, right? When you go down the stairs and popcorn sounds in the knees. So take the time to glide. Okay, because you're strolling across the muscle belly right here. You're gonna kind of feel the surface muscle, your leg could kick up, the leg that's closest to the ball, the top of that thigh into the glute. You might feel like, oh, that's kind of a good massage in there. And take the time to feel that. Feel the ball kind of strolling across the skin. Skin strolling. I think I like that better than skin scrolling. Okay. And then relax. Tail down. Take the ball, let the knees swing. So you're not gripping the glute to get it under. That's the key. So then I move my knees to the right, and then I put the ball to the left rear. Not too low. You'll learn. So if you have it too low, it's kind of disappointing because then you have to start again. But have it high enough so if you reach down, you can kind of feel your hip, trochanter. You're going to be just around from the back of there. And then when you come up, and I don't know you might decide, I want it a little higher, I want it a little far, a little out to the left. So you can move it, just don't grip your glutes too much to get there so you can massage them. So feel the pressure and the movement, or the massage, that's what that is, pressure and movement. And feel how the hip is rocking, right? Try to feel that, and it's a lot of resistance in some way. I mean, at your femur, there is some toning going on here. It's a great blend. They're nice. You're getting a little bit of each. Massage parts of it, toning parts of it. Okay. All right. Now, as you come over to your crossover position, you're going to go back to the tail. Take your foot to the bolster on one side. Push it. Be minimal about this pushing. Just get it over to the right. Grab a hold of the handle and then pull the bolster to that right side and park your left thigh towards it. Now, this is no guarantee your leg is going to completely touch your bolster. I know that. So what you might need is a block under the bolster. Okay. So your leg easily can touch. Okay. Some people find the sandbag on the thigh makes it work. Some of us don't. So I'm going to put the ball to the tailbone area, and then I'm going to get my sand and add it on the outer left thigh. And you might find you get the block under, and then now it's like it's better without it. So you are deciding. You can also put a blanket on the bolster, something that's a little less than the block. And then with the left arm open, the right bottom leg, well, it's going to be at the bottom anyway. You want to make sure it bends enough and it's not hurting your knee. So with the bending, I think when in doubt, hinge, keep hinging. And then you have to come back and rebound anyway. Right? So this gives your body that opportunity to keep rebounding and get the blanket under your head so it's comfy for your neck movement to the left, if you choose to turn your head a little bit. And just resting in this revolved core pose, stretching the abdominal muscles and deeply massaging into the organs with slow breath. And just turning your head back center, take the sand off the left hip. And then as we get ready to go to side 2, if you feel rushed, you can stay at side 1 a little longer. But as we go to side 2, feel the feet on the floor, both of them, then push the hips a little to the right with your feet touching down, soles of the feet, and then move your bolster to the left side. Okay? So you kind of, again, treat yourself a little carefully here because we're doing deep work, right, into some of these, into the bone movement and the joints. So I'm just going to push and move my hips to the right again, bend the left knee, and then swing the right leg over. The more kind of hinging you feel, I bet you're going to feel more flexible in the hip. So, even though you might not think things like squats help with that, they kind of do, right? They're going to help with that, that rebound in the joint. Of course, back off, don't go as far in these shapes if it's hurting things. And sometimes the sandbag can be helpful. So if I put my sand on the outer right thigh, maybe a blanket on top of the bolster, maybe a block under it, but the left leg is bending. And feel if that is received well in your hip. If you're clenching one of your rears, like you feel it tightening, that's your auto response. Just see if you can relax. And sometimes that's just the default. I get in the shape and there's something that keeps tightening. So the last couple poses here, see what you can just not see, feel what you can relax. You don't have to see it, right? You have to feel that it happens. And you can put props on that right side to hold your arm out and up. But again, if you're kind of forcing it, find where you can make it a little more mellow. You can let your head turn to the right. When you turn your head, do you roll just on the skull? Do you turn with the jaw? There's more to think about, isn't there, sometimes? And really make an investment in your breath supply here. Okay, now as you turn your head back center, with the sand, push it to the side, or just push it away towards the wall. And we're going to come into legs up the wall. If you're not a legs up the wall participant today, maybe you're you're going to put your blocks under your bolster. So you're going to make a bolster bench. This is good too. Put my blocks second or third setting and place it under my bolster. This is good. I haven't tried this up the wall, but I have tried sitting on my bolster bench lately. I love this. This is really nice on your hips to sit on. So if you've ever thought about getting a little more height and you don't have a cushion that's that high, and you don't want to sit in a chair to sit, try that. Okay, so bolster bench or legs up the wall, get a sandbag, get an eye pillow, and make sure you're in a cozy little spot here. So if you need to make it a little warmer, make it so. But you can also use multiple blankets. You can have one under your head and one on you. So I would say get all your goodies. And one thing I've been teaching with legs up lately is this other approach to get up has been you actually come to stand right next to your bolster, get your tush next to the wall. So I'm on the right side of the bolster. And then I kind of drop down and then I make this little teeter totter. So I sit on the left hip. Okay, the bolster kind of flips up a little bit. I found this momentum has helped me quite a bit. And actually not me, but watching people try to learn how to get upside down and get close to the wall. Um, I don't know. I find I try the things and then realize, oh, that's been in the textbook forever and I have never offered it. So it's an idea, but if you've been figuring it out without standing up and you don't want to get up again, I can understand. Okay. So you're going to have the legs elevated, whether you have a blanket under your pelvis or a bolster. And it is quite the back bending pose, right? It's opening the chest. Opening the chest. So sandbag option at the soles of the feet. Okay. So I have my feet a little bit apart. Okay. They're several inches apart. They're not just one or two, right? So I have to find placement. So, and I tend to have more of an X leg and rather than bow leg. So it'll affect your knees, right? So you might go, okay, space between the knees, got it. Keep them that way. And then if you're going to put your blanket on or your eye pillow on, just kind of take a moment and feel how is it with the legs when you close your eyes before you settle back. Okay. So adjust everything so you're comfy, right? You definitely need to adjust so your throat is clear, nothing's bunched around it. It's relaxed. This is a really important area to have a little bit of relaxed tone in the neck, right? Let the neck relax back. Again, you can have your arms open, the shoulders resting back. And then as you receive the practice, think of this one as the cumulative effects of the whole practice. Your last pose. And not that you want to be kind of full of acknowledging all your great efforts, right? It's that integration, right? The moments at the end, integrating, receiving, and this is the finale with the little bit of inversion, legs up, reversing the flow, gravitational flow back to my heart and my lungs. And feel the lower ribs, feel the abdominals. Maybe you get kind of that opportunity to feel the flow of it. And with the pressure of the abdominals on the diaphragm, when you're upside down, it might be a little challenging. It might make you a little winded. But feel as you start to propel the lymphatic flow, that reverse flow in the body. Such good interaction going upside down. And just swallow, clearing the throat. Relax the teeth. Start to shift the feet a little bit away from the wall if you're at the wall. If you're in the middle of the space with your legs up on the bolster bench, just give it a pause here for a moment. Still let the feet refresh without being stepped on. Those of us with sand, bend the knees so you can start to move the sand aside. And then I really like the blanket here when I bring the knees in. I actually don't really like it that much, but I know it's a good stimulant right to my digestive tract. So it's a good little massage in there. It's a little pressure on the breathing muscles. And I try to warm up into that, creating that heat. How can I build the heat in the body? And then as we roll to the side, if you're on bolster bench, you just bring your knees in and then just gently roll to one side. And I recommend sitting up on your bolster bench. If you have the blocks under the bolster, take a seat on it. It's kind of fun. Have the knees pointing out, have the shoulders rolling back, have the spine with its comfortable lift, and feel what a spine is like with the curves. Okay, and if you know you got, I mean, we all kind of age with sometimes a little bit of that scoliosis. So feel from the sitting bones, feel those first, and feel up the movement of your head.